I recently bought a set of 40 Elvis singles and EPs online, even though I knew that many of the covers had problems and I had no idea what condition the records were in. Why did I take such a gamble, and what did I end up with? I'll talk about all that in today's video. I knew the person selling these was a member of the public as opposed to a dealer because he didn't bother editing his socks out of the picture. And I could see from those pictures that many of the inserts had their corners cut off, like this one here, and like this one here. And I'll talk about why those corners were cut off later in the video. But there were signs that this set was worth taking a gamble on. For instance, I noticed that all the records were in their original plastic sleeves, which is a possible sign that the records were well looked after. This is Heartbreak Hotel. And I noticed that the records all appeared to have their original company sleeves as well. But more importantly, I noticed that there were quite a lot of rare records, the covers of which appeared to be in really nice condition. And we'll get to those later. This is Love Letters, different cover to the American picture sleeve. And the next few are quite difficult to find these days. Spin Out, Indescribably Blue, and Judy. So I had no idea what condition the records were in, and as I was looking through them, I did get a few nasty surprises, like this handful of records here. These are all very badly warped records, totally unplayable. And I'll just show you the inserts that came with those records. It Feels So Right. And you might wonder, well, why didn't you ask the seller what condition the records were in? This is No More and Blue Hawaii. And in the item description, it said, please do not buy if you are bothered about the condition of the records. And in my experience, that generally means that the seller doesn't know how to grade records, and there's a good chance that the records are actually in very good condition. Bossa Nova Baby and Witchcraft, and Do the Clam. You might think it's a bit of a shame that this cover doesn't have a nice record to go with it, but Do the Clam is actually a very easy record to find, so I'm not too bothered about this one. So far I haven't been able to show you anything very good. These next few singles all have 4-page inserts, and the fronts look okay, but just like this copy of Devil in Disguise, the back side has been cut off on the corner. Viva Las Vegas, Frankie and Johnny, that's actually quite a rare one. Crying in the Chapel, and Kissing Cousins. Fortunately, my hunch about this set of records turned out to be correct, as I'll show you now with the rest of the bunch. The first of which is this record here, Love Me Tender. And actually I can use this one to explain what happened to the corners on so many of the inserts. On the back side of the insert here in the top corner, you can see the Nipper logo, and it has little bells either side of it. And this was known as a bell mark, and it was a coupon that you could send away in exchange for cash that could be used in schools for things like sports facilities. So there you go, mystery solved. This next one looks very similar to the last record that I showed, but in actual fact it's not Love Me Tender, it's Don't Be Cruel and I'll Never Let You Go. And they actually used this photograph on several singles in the 1950s. These two actually are not from the 1950s, they're early 1960s reissues. And in fact, this entire collection basically dates from between 1961, 62 up to about 1970. Here's another rare one. This one actually also unfortunately has the corner clipped. This is a Japan-only single, I believe. Blue Moon on the A side and Trying to Get to You on the other. And judging from the company sleeve, this one came out in the early 60s. The original had a different insert. They used these green and white inserts when they'd finished all the stock of the photo inserts. Here's another rare single. This is GI Blues, and this is a later pressing as well. The original one from 1960-61 had a color insert with the usual red, white and blue colors. For some reason, when they reissued it in the mid-60s, they used this tinted version of the photograph. This is quite a rare one. And here's a rare Christmas single from 1965. Here comes Santa Claus and Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me. In America in the mid-60s, they released a series of older Elvis singles in new picture sleeves, and they called the series a Gold Standard series. And they did the same thing in America, although the picture sleeves were different. And here's one that I have for you here. This is Blue Moon of Kentucky on the A side, and That's All Right on the B side. This is actually an RCA pressing from about 1970-71. But it originally came out on Victor in 1965. Very, very rare single. Both versions, RCA or Victor. And another Gold Standard series I have in this set. This one is actually original Victor from 1965. Equally difficult to find. This one is Milk Car Blues Boogie. And is a rare single from the late 1960s. Stay Away and US Mail. That was one of the last records to be released on the Victor label. And I also have the first record to be released on the RCA label, and that was A Little Less Conversation. This is a very rare single. And interestingly, the tri-center is white. The rest of the label is orange. Only the tri-center is white, and this was the only record that was released that way. All the ones after this had orange labels and orange tri-centers. Like the next one I can show you here, If I Can Dream. The next one is Suspicious Minds. Don't Cry Daddy. There's the RCA company sleeve from that point. It does have a picture of Elvis on the other side. Kentucky Rain. The Wonder of You. And the last single, this has a Japan-only cover design. This is I've Lost You. There you go. There's Elvis on the company sleeve. The last few I have to show you are EPs. Here's the first one. This is called Long Tall Sally in Japanese, and it's actually the same as the American Strictly Elvis EP with the lyrics on the back there. The running order is slightly different to the Strictly Elvis EP in that How Do You Think I Feel on side 2 is the second song. How's the World Treating You is the first song. Another EP from about 1963, I think this came out. This is Any Way You Want Me. And this is the mono version. It was re-released in the mid-60s in electronically reprocessed stereo with those 3 Sun songs plus Any Way You Want Me. And the next one is a pretty rare one. This is the Last Movie Soundtrack EP, which of course was Easy Come, Easy Go, but no, it was called Go, Go, Go in Japanese. And you get this great photo on the back. This one actually has 6 songs, just like the American version. In Britain, it only had 4 songs. And it's actually a gatefold sleeve with the lyrics on the inside and also some Japanese liner notes. And just like all these EPs that I'm showing you here, it was released with this blue Victor Compact Double 33 Living Stereo label. It says Living Stereo, but in actual fact, the music is in mono, just like it was on other versions. And at the end of 1967, RCA Victor released a series of Elvis EPs known as Elvis Presley Story. I think there were 6, 6 6 EPs in gatefold sleeves, and this is one of them. This is volume 4, and it's called Joshua Fit the Battle, and it has 4 songs from the His Hand in Mine album, which are listed on the back. So all the EPs in this series had this same photograph on the back cover, but the color on the left side was different in each case. So this has Joshua Fit the Battle, Swing Down Sweet Chariot, I'm Gonna Walk Them Golden Stairs, and Mansion Over the Hilltop. This also has a gatefold sleeve, and this is a really nice clean copy. Very happy to get that one. And last but not least, see if you can guess what EP this is. I'll just hold it there. There's the answer. Follow That Dream. So this is a Presley Golden Compact Series EP. I've shown 2 or 3 other EPs from that series in the past, and this is a really, really rare EP to find. Again, it says Living Stereo on the label, but it's not. Just like everywhere else, it's in mono. And that series of EPs also came with a lyric sheet, just like that. So how about you? Have you ever taken a chance with an online purchase of records? How did it go? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Cheers.